most insidious form of child neglect is a child watching their parents not fulfill their dream. There's no greater success than in the four walls of our home. The ceiling of achievement happens to a lot of us. We go, I'll just work harder or chase something. Problem with those, you take something with you every time, and it's you.
Chaz shared how he goes through his innovative process to foster powerful ideas.
You have to transfer vision.
How do you do that?
You have to help them see the epiphany. I set certain requirements, and then I let everything else go.
Were you always like that with discipline?
I was not a disciplined person, and I meet my wife. She makes me want to be great.
What's different with these structures that have worked compared to the ones that didn't?
The thing that didn't work was my own ego. What I realized through a lot of those mistakes is I don't have hardly any of the answers. The thing that works is...
Welcome to this episode of Rare Things. It is a rare interview today with our friend Chaz Wilson. We talked about all the things. We talked about family having success in the home, about pressure is a privilege, about agreements over expectations. Excited for you to get to know Chaz and what he does in business. Has an incredible lead syndicate program, any other networking and leadership books that you'll hear more about soon.
Yeah, one of my favorite parts about the interview too is Chaz shared how he actually goes through his innovative process, both from the business standpoint, but also the ways he sets up his life to foster really amazing, powerful ideas. So it's going to be great, and stay tuned.
2 truths and a lie about you.
Oh, I forget about.
We could start with ours.
Yeah, why don't you start with yours? So I have to guess what your truth is?
Okay.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, so you say 3 statements and you're like, which one is the lie?
Oh, man. The hard part is coming up with lies.
I know.
Yeah.
And then so you got to think of 3 things that are interesting.
I can come up with a ton of lies. It's the truth.
So you're
Okay, here we go. I'm ambidextrous.
both hands. That's what that means. You can
Yes.
say.
I used to braid my hair, and I've been skydiving.
Okay, those are all actually really good.
You're from California, so I feel like you could have been a surfer with long hair.
I'm gonna say the ambidextrous one is the lie.
That's the line.
What's your...
I don't think you've been skydiving.
That's it. I haven't been skydiving.
Yeah, you're ambidextrous.
I'm ambidextrous.
Really?
Can you do it at the same time?
Yes. So
Leonardo da Vinci, he used to paint and then also write things which that's ambidextrous brain to do 2 things.
yeah. So, and actually where it really showed up was when I was playing sports and I could switch hit. And I would even do that mid at bat. So I'd throw a pitcher off. So I would go left, maybe 2 pitches, and then our opposing coaches would argue. They're like, you can't do that. And they're I'm just why not? I mean, I'm 12. Yeah, 12. And then I would also throw the ball with different hands. And so I used to throw football left-handed. And when I moved from California to Minnesota, the coach lived down the street. And he walked up, because it's a new neighborhood. He sees this kid, obviously in the school district. So he walks up. I didn't know he's a coach. Introduces himself. He says, hey, do you want to come play football? I'd never played football. I'd just moved from California to Minnesota. And I grew up playing other sports, baseball and volleyball and other things. And I'm sure. He's like, well, what do you want to play? I'm like, who doesn't want to play quarterback? Every kid. So I'm I want to play quarterback. He's like, let me see you throw a ball. So I throw it left-handed. Well, what I didn't know at the time is they had a quarterback of the same grade. And he was a Division I prospect. He was really good. So the coach says, which I just took him at face value. He goes, our offense is built for a right-handed quarterback, so you can't play quarterback.
You're watch me.
So I was okay. So
Extra.
practice is in 2 weeks. And so I didn't know how to throw right-handed. I mean, I threw a baseball right-handed. So for the next 2 weeks, I just learned how to throw right-handed. And then we got to practice. He's like, all right, quarterbacks over here, receivers over here, running backs. Well, I went with the quarterbacks. He's like, you're thick. You're not getting it. Get it through your skull. Left-handed quarterback doesn't work. I'm like, no, I throw right-handed. He's like, pretty sure I saw you throw left-handed. And so then I had to play quarterback because I learned how to throw right-handed. And in a game, I actually rolled out one time. I was getting taken down from the right side, and I switched the ball and threw a touchdown left-handed, tight end across the middle.
Oh, wow.
I didn't realize it. It didn't even... And so I came off the field, and another coach who didn't know I was ambidextrous is like, did you just throw that left-handed? I was like, I think so. I don't know. But yeah, it was just very natural for me to do things.
I don't know what that is. I played hockey left-handed, but I would golf right.
Yeah, I was lucky left too as well. Canadian here.
Yeah.
So I did hockey.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's some things though that are harder because I'm like, I don't know if I should do it left or right. Like I can end up doing it, but like I remember when I ran track, they're like, are you right-handed or left-handed? You know, I did high jump. Which leg do you jump off? I'm like, I can jump off both. I don't know.
I jumped too, and I
Yeah.
didn't know which way to go too.
Yeah.
So
Maybe
funny.
you're
I
ambidextrous.
didn't know this about us, that we had this
Yeah.
in common. So you're adaptable, almost like it can be to a fault too, of like,
Yeah.
which way do I go?
Yeah. Like learning new things is, some people are just so dominant on one. It's like, that makes sense. You just do it this way. I'm like, I don't really know. Should I go left foot, right foot, or whatever? I don't know.
Do you have a trick for learning new things like that, or is it kind of just natural out there, I guess?
Really,
Yeah.
just try it. Whichever feels more natural. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Just a fun story. When I coached football for 14 years. When I coached high school, the first time I'd go, and none of the kids know me, I'd always challenge the quarterbacks. 'Cause I coached the quarterbacks, and I would be like, hey, I bet you I can throw that ball through the uprights from 20 yards out left-handed or right-handed first. I'd set them up, and then I'm like, you know what? Scratch it. I'll just do it left-handed. And I said, now if I get it, you guys got to run gassers or something like that. And they're like, all right, coach, sure. No, they'd see me throw right-handed, and then I'd switch and I'd throw it through left-handed. I'm like, get running. So this is kind of my fun thing as a coach to like, razz the kids a little bit. So,
That's hilarious.
yeah.
I mean, busy. So you're a coach. You're also until we had dinner last night, I realized you have 3 businesses right now that you're running actively. I mean, that's a lot.
They do have a bajillion kids.
But really,
And
Feels like-
over 3 is bajillion.
yeah. So a couple big priorities in my life. I'm married to my wife, 24 years. The way we got married in 2000. Super smart, because now I already know how many years. Always.
I'm so glad I was born in 90, because I'm like, whatever year it is, add 10.
10.
But if it was anything else, I do not miss
Yeah.
in public.
Yeah. So, right, mathing is just not my thing. So 24 years we've been married. We have 5 children. We had 5 children in 7 years. So the youngest 2 are twins. I'm not recommending you do 5. That is a lot of diapers. Lots of stories about that. Starting a business, losing a business, starting a new company. So yeah, I've my wife, my best friend, 5 children. I serve in our church and do a lot of leadership stuff there. Run 3 companies. So I don't have a lot of time for other things.
Yeah.
But I love all of those things. So people are like, what are your hobbies? I'm really, that's it. Like, that's it.
I never know how to answer that question. I'm like, well, I made my hobby into a business.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I also think it's funny, though, that you say that, because most people will use the fact that they have all these things going on to not do one of the others you've listed.
Yeah.
I'm in business, therefore I want to do a family. I have family, therefore I want to do a business. But then they're also doing church leadership stuff. And
Yeah.
It's a lot. Time management is obviously, I'm sure, something people ask.
Yeah.
Do you have a trick?
Well, I know where my priorities are, I think, to those around me. So for example, when I travel, like coming up here, pretty much there's a rule. So let me back up. So with my wife, obviously that's the first person I got to have all that stuff with. And so we have really worked to operate out of agreement, not expectation.
That's awesome.
Meaning, like I always tell the story, I'll do it usually from stage or whatever. I remember one time my wife was upset with me about something. Like clearly, I probably gave her lots of reasons to be upset, but I could just tell she was frustrated about something. And one time she said, hey, can you just you're last one on the bed, can you just make the bed? And I was like, oh, well, yeah. I mean, it seems obvious, duh, I should make the bed. Okay. And I was like, why don't we just agree that the last one out of bed just makes the bed? Like, simple agreement. And I laugh about that I share that because most people in the audience will laugh. Like, that's a thing for a lot of people. Somebody's not making the bed. I get it, right? Okay. I did it because I'm usually the first one out of bed. So hey, this is a great agreement. You're last, you make the bed, okay?
it's also motivation to get up early.
Exactly. I'm like, I don't want to make the bed. I'm out. But the reason why I share that is because those simple agreements are what, then I don't have to manage my kids. I don't have to we manage the agreement we've all made. And so, for example, when I travel, my wife's like, pretty much, I don't have to go, hey, I'm going to leave this week or whatever I'm going to do. If it's more than 24 hours, then I'm like, let me check in. And if it's a 24-hour turnaround, I'll schedule it with the person, and then I let her know, hey, I'm going to be gone on this day and that day. Anything over 24 hours, like, hey, let's talk, let's agree, this works, kids, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how the time management thing is. I'm just very structured, and like if someone was going to rob me, it'd be easy. because I am like routine.
This is public.
Yeah, I don't care. Like whatever. It's like I'm the same place, same time every day, like
Amazing.
kind of thing.
And you like that structure, but do you also have variety in other areas?
Not really. Like
Right.
I'm very disciplined and so I think that brings balance in the life with my kid. Like my kids know we eat pretty similar time most of the time. Football season throws that off, but we know what we're doing on Saturdays. You know, I go to the gym with my boys. Sundays we know what we're doing. Like it's just very routine and there's a structure, but it actually allows us to flex. And so to answer that long answer to that question, but the way that I manage it is just through agreements. Just like, this is where I'll be. This is when I have time with you and my kids. I have time with you on this time.
You just shifted a huge thing in my head because normally, like agreement versus expectation, I mean, that's massive.
Yeah.
I grew up very structured as well, but it's actually what I pushed against.
Oh,
And so it's highly variety seeking, you know, just in all areas of life. And so I've had to come back as an adult and like add structure in.
do you find that's hard to now add structure in or?
It depends what it is.
Yeah.
But just the notion though already of that it's an agreement, set an expectation.
Yeah.
You know, if I go and I add structure from the lens of like my inner teenager,
Yeah.
that's hard.
Yeah.
Because the teenager is the one going, screw this. They're right, what? I'm not going to do that. But if I go and I'm doing it like, oh no, I'm like an adult, you know, that definitely helps. But that's an interesting way to, I mean, so last night you're talking about how every morning you do an ice bath.
Yeah.
You have a similar, what is that?
Yeah. It's just structured routine. Like, what's the routine?
Yeah. Everyone always asks what ours are. And I feel like I can get principles and I've seasons of structure
As a routine.
and I've seasons of like no structure. So I'm interested to know what your answer is.
I'll just say the mornings are very sacred to me because like, I feel like if my morning gets thrown off, like, it just throws off. I don't know why, but so in the morning I get up, I go out and throw the ice in the ice bath. Like that's one of the first things I do. I'm barely like eyes open. I just throw it in there before I can even talk myself out of it.
Out on your inner critic.
Exactly.
Get right in there.
So good. That's a great way to
Good line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So wait, do you get the ice? Like, is it in a freezer?
It's in a bag. Like I bought these bags off Amazon and they have handles.
Oh,
on
we
them.
have those too.
Yeah.
Very.
It's like 10 of them. And I got a chest freezer. I just throw them all in there. It takes me about, right now it's really hot in Texas. And so it takes me about 7 bags to like cool the water to like 40 degrees.
Yeah.
So I throw it in there and then I go to the gym. And it's interesting that I change my routine. So like right now I do the bike for about 40 minutes and I do a couple of things and that's awesome for me. The very first thing I do is I listen to spiritual scripture stuff, like maybe 20 minutes. And then what that usually does is in my mind, it allows me to connect in a way where I'm like, who do I need to be thinking about today? And I spend the next 5 to 10 minutes texting people, happy birthday. Hey, I'm thinking about you today
While you're on the bike.
while I'm on the bike.
What a great habit stuff.
Awesome.
Like what
You're
time
like-
of the day is it?
With your body.
6:30. Now I used to have a Google phone, which I was iPhone shamed or whatever, but I have a Google phone. You can schedule your texts. And so on Google, you can schedule a text. So like I don't send it at 6:30, I'll send it at 9 or 9:30 or whatever. So I just do a bunch of them and then I schedule them out.
Wow.
And then I'll switch to an audiobook or something I'm listening to because my mind doesn't work well to like ride the bike for 40 minutes. But if I'm distracted and committed to that, then it does. And so when I'm done, I'll lift weights. I go back, sit in the sauna for 10 minutes, then I go back to my house, ice bath, shower, get ready. Because with my wife, she's usually reading or something on the patio. We'll talk for a minute, then I go to work. Do work. I have a treadmill, standing desk treadmill. So I try to stay moving. I'm getting older and just need that energy stuff. And then I'm done. I do not take an appointment past 5 p.m. Rarely ever.
Wow.
And I am home. My office is a mile from my house. I bought a building that's like a mile from my house. I can drive back before I have to put my seatbelt on before it starts dinging at me. That's how close it is. Like, so I just drive home and then with the kids and the rest of the night until about 9 p.m. I found if I can connect with my kids, my wife, everything, then they're cool if I want to work again. So I might work from 9 to 11 or something like that and then I'm done.
I like that. I like that as a framework too of if you choose to work again, it's like
Yeah.
you filled the cup over here to be able to do that with freedom and not the guilt or pressure of like, I feel pulled over here because I feel that.
That's cool then. So they're waking up, ice baths in, going 40 minutes of bike, and then lifting weights, then sauna, then ice bath,
Yep.
then you're getting ready. I mean, that's a pretty stacked morning routine.
It's very stacked.
It's like, and how long does that take?
So I'm usually at the gym by 6:30ish, and then I'm in the office by 9.
And then you're out at 6.
Yeah. And not much before. I mean, kind of like
And then every day, like you don't miss a day.
Sunday I don't do that. Just have church responsibilities, but yeah, Monday through Saturday,
Hmm.
I don't really miss a day. I probably should have more recovery days. I'm like, I don't know what to do. I feel like my whole morning's off, It's you like, oh, sleep in. We were talking about this last night. I'm at an age where like, I can't sleep in. And my body just wakes up and I hate it. Like, I would love to be able to sleep in but I just don't. So
That's good though. Then it's just still sleeping 7 hours every night, and then you wake up, you do that. I'm imagining then that your structure and your business has the same level of intent.
Yeah.
What is that like? Because I think what I find is most entrepreneurs and people who run their own thing, it's very natural to sit down and be like, I don't have a boss who's giving me my to-do list. So how do I create that? I know that we call it EOS.
Yeah.
We love that, but that's good for like overall, overarching umbrella planning. How are you actually scheduling out the day and the week?
Such a great question.
I didn't think we would talk about this, but this stuff is really valuable. I think everyone I want to know this.
Well, so it's interesting because I spent a number of years before I started the companies I have now. I owned some real estate franchises. And I used to have this mindset, like I'd go home and I would feel like I accomplished a lot. And but if I looked back, it was like busy work, just not a lot of production. So I have this thing in my office that says, is what I'm doing now a lead generating activity? And it just sits there, right? Is what I'm doing now a lead generating activity?
Awesome.
And this is this constant reminder. So what I have to do is I have to set certain benchmarks or requirements and say, this is a money-making activity. How many of those did I do today? And so I rate my quality of the day. When I walk across the threshold of my door in our home, you probably have it too. Like some days you're like, God, I just don't feel like I moved the needle today, right? I hate that. Yeah, it's the worst. And so, especially in a business and a business owner thinking about this, like it's so behind the scenes, like it's like water boiling. You don't see it until it's there. So the only way I can do that is say, today was productive because I did these 3 things. I did 3 of whatever, these meetings or whatever that benchmark is at the time. And then I just measured on that. And then I let everything else go. I'm like, it'll be there tomorrow. Like I was productive today. And you stack enough of those, it moves.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, I think entrepreneurs specifically carry a lot of guilt around it. Like you go home and you're like, was I productive today? And
Was it enough?
was it enough?
When is enough?
That's a good question.
Enoughness is a big, I don't know if you follow any of the personality assessments,
Oh, yeah.
Enneagram.
Yeah.
Do you know what your Enneagram is?
I don't know that one, but I know DISC and
Yeah.
some of the others. Yeah.
But definitely for like driven personalities, I'm a 3 on the Enneagram. For anyone who's listening and understands what that means, you'll be like, oh yeah, it's very much of like achievement oriented, accomplishments, what is enough. And I feel like I've done a lot of work to enter a season of just being like, it is enough and the work will always be there. And I want to savor being in a place where my nervous system feels calm.
Cool.
And to create from a place of calm, abundance instead of scarcity, which I told you yesterday when we were in our backyard that I had this therapy session where I was like, all I want to do is like make enough money so that I can just rest and go to the beach.
Yeah.
My therapist was like, you have a beach in your backyard, to go outside.
I had it right now.
It was a delusion in my mind of like not having enough that I had to just switch into. And you talking about structure, like I feel like structure creates freedom, even though to some people it might feel like structure is someone telling me what to do, when to do it, and where to be. But you have so much, like, exactly, there's clarity in the consistency.
I think it was it extreme ownership, the Jocko Willink.
Freedom.
Yeah.
Is it discipline equals freedom?
Yeah.
And I just feel like that. I just like, I don't know, there's certain things I could do better. We're talking about like diets and like, man, sometimes cookies get the best of me. Sometimes cookies get the best hours every morning. I know, but it's still, I'm at an age that You know, you can't hide those mistakes as often, you know, like my boys can.
Were you always like that with discipline, or was it a muscle you had to build, that there was a time where you were like, I just want to be lazy. Oh, but I should go to the gym. And then you built this structure.
Yeah, I'm wondering where it came from.
Um, yeah, it kind of gets me in here a bit. I was not a disciplined person. I was not. I was pretty lazy. Like growing up, like okay, this sounds fairly arrogant. I know how it's going to sound, but like I did things pretty easily.
Sure.
And so I didn't feel like I had to work for much. I could skate by in classes. I hated school. I could make friends with somebody and be like, hey, I need help on this test. Like, oh, it's just this, this, and this. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, that's how I got through.
Yeah.
You know?
Really?
Yeah. And I don't know if I ever read a book. Like, I'm not a great reader, all that stuff. Okay, so I'm about 19 years old and I meet my wife. And I realized for the first time in my life, oh my gosh, like, I still feel this way. I'm like, she is out of my league. And I remember thinking, she will never date a guy like me. And so that drive, like, I don't know, it sparked some ambition that I'm like, she makes me want to be great. And she still does. And so I'm like, I don't know, that drive of like trying to prove too. Like, I don't feel like I have to prove it. That's
Not on a chip or shoulder attitude.
no, like, I don't feel like I have to prove anything to her, but I just feel like I do. Like, I want to. So when I met her, it changed everything for me, and still does. So,
That's amazing. Yeah.
so I don't know. Like, just you meet certain people in your life, and for me, it was her.
Yeah. It changes the environment.
Yep.
Your environment is stronger than willpower. Like,
Yeah.
you say that.
It's interesting because, like, there's people that will say, like, oh, I don't want to have kids because I want to be tied down, or I don't want to have family life, or whatever. And
Yeah, really.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it makes sense. From the outside, it looks that way, but it's actually an accelerant.
Yeah,
You know, it makes you better. It roughs the edges out on you better. It builds character quick. To have that, not all pressure is created equal,
right.
you know? And so, like, this is a positive source of good pressure that's just going to make you have direction.
And if you change the perspective, the pressure is the privilege to like grow. Like, I kind of thrive on that. Like, okay, cool. You nobody else wants to step up to that thing that we all know is a good thing to do. Okay, I'll step into that.
Pressure is a privilege.
Yeah.
That would be the name of the podcast.
That are dropping one line.
Yeah, it's like it's really all of the things that. So one of the phrases in my life is that things just tend to work out for me, and I just try to keep that mindset. Like, a flight will be canceled, but it's like, it'll work out for me, you know. And then I get bumped, and they put me in first class, and it's a straight flight, and it's like, okay, cool, it worked out. So yeah, I think pressure is a privilege, and if we look at it that way, it's like what people say. How are things? You're like, oh man, I'm so busy. Who isn't?
Sure.
Who isn't?
It's kind of a dumb response.
Right. So my mentor used to say, and he would instill these things in my mind to like change my mindset. And he'd say, Chaz, when people ask you that, don't say you're busy, say you're productive. And hard things, oh man, I'm super productive. Like, it just made me be more productive, because I'm like, I know it sounds foo-foo.
No, but it like changes the whole vibe thing I did.
It's like people go, I'm busy, and that sounds like a negative thing. It's like, no, I'm productive. Super productive right now. So anyway, I also want to go back, because I'm fascinated when you said that you thought kids tie you down, now you don't. Like, what changed that perspective?
Having them.
Yeah.
I always imagined that I would have kids. Like, when I was, when you're a kid, what do you want to be to grow up? A mommy. That was my first answer. But then as I got older, and I'm very ambitious, like building business and want to make movies in Hollywood, it was like, oh, that will tie me down. And I even remember having a call with my parents once and being like, I will never get married or have kids. And they're like, that'll probably change. And I was so defensive.
Yeah.
No, it won't.
Yeah.
And then I did get married, and that relationship didn't work out. We got divorced, and that's, we also went through divorces at the same time, which is kind of how we were going through therapy and in the same entrepreneurial space, became friends, and then started dating. And Steven has 3 girls that I also never imagined myself being a stepmom. Like, I just thought that's so dramatic. There's always going to be another woman involved, and the kids were at some point are going to be like, you're not my mom. I have to listen to you. I hate you. Like,
Right. And Disney always paints the stepmom the bad mom.
Right.
Like, oh, yeah,
Good people.
stepmother.
like, come on.
And so I was like, I don't know about this. But when Steven and I fell madly in love, then when I started to meet the kids, I was like, first of all, I'm so lucky. These kids are perfect.
They're awesome kids I got to meet.
And also Steven's ex-wife is lovely. Like
Yeah.
I've never, and I'm like, I know this is so rare to say,
Yeah.
we have a great relationship.
Yeah.
We're not friends that hang out, but we're friendly. We co-parent amazing. We communicate great. Like
Yeah.
it is the best case scenario
It should
I
be, yeah.
never imagined could be possible. And yeah, just I mean, falling in love with Steven, and he's opened me up to so much. I mean, he
Yeah.
shifted my mindset, my beliefs, my what I wanted in family, introduced me to God. Like my whole life is unrecognizable from where I was before, and
Which was not my goal. No, like it makes us
not trying to be, but just
Just being who you are.
right.
Right. Yeah.
inspiring. But then yeah, with meeting the kids and just loving Steven so much, and then being like, okay, let me be open to this. Let me dip my toe in and see what it's like. It really hit me of like kids are an accelerant because yes, what better inspiration is there to live a life of virtues and moral excellence than to be an example for them and to be like, I hope that I can raise you to be like your dad because I just love and love you so much. And to not be it's like there's a balance of like still being selfish to show them that you should go after your dreams no matter what anyone says, but also be able to share that with them and give a piece of your life to raising them well.
So good. I think it was, I might have the quote wrong, but, or I'll get it close, but I think Ed Milet said something like, the most insidious form of child neglect is a child watching their parents not fulfill their dream.
Yeah.
Right.
It's hard, yeah.
And I realized early on that, to your point about that is like, I saw all these entrepreneurs doing their life and then going home and having a life, like this two things, or not having a life, but exchanging it. And so my wife and I made the agreement really early that we were going to do business with our kids, like do life with our kids. I loved what you guys were talking about last night, and I won't share all those things, but I loved the ideas, right? Yeah, no, I loved it, right? The books and
Oh, the books. Yeah. Stay tuned. Hook, open loop.
yeah, open loop. That's and so we just made these agreements that we would do life with our kids. So when we had our first national conference, I had 3 rules with my kids. They could come, but they had to dress up. So like my son bought a suit. He's like there. Right? Not that he had to wear a suit, but like he wanted to be. So all my kids were there, and they've been every year. So 8 years. Dress up, show up, meaning put the phones away, be present, and you got to take notes
Great.
of that. Yeah. And so what most people don't know about me is I'm very shy. I'm actually more of an introvert. And so I got like panic attack the first time I was going to go on stage in front of my company, my people, all this stuff. My wife comes backstage, just, pours a lot of value into me. And I'm like, okay, where are you guys going to be sitting? I need a safe place to look. All right. She's like, we'll be front row. Well, from the time she told me till that I got on stage, someone had moved them somehow. I don't know what happened. They're the very back. So all I'm thinking is I come on stage and I'm thinking, don't look at my family. Like I'm going to lose it. Like I'm nervous. Like my heart is pounding in my chest. And so I look to the back and I see at that, he's now a junior in high school, but he was, I think, 8 at the time. And he's got a suit on and he's in the back and people are cheering and stuff. And he's like, oh, like, yeah. And I lose it like on stage. Like, I'm like, no. And I went through speaker training because I was so nervous about it. And I remember one of the things they said is don't ever let them see you cry on stage. I'm like crying 5 seconds.
I told you that.
Yeah. I'm like 10 seconds in, I'm crying. And then what I realize is like, that's a dumb rule. I know. So say so dumb. If anyone wants to be a speaker, let me just tell you, I've probably
Get it out of the way.
I'm
blow your face off.
My family admit I'm a fairly tough guy, but when I talk about my family, I get emotional. And I've cried a few times on stage. It's just very genuine, and people are like, I connect to that. So anyway, side thing. But I realized in that moment, like, I remember thinking the gratitude I had with my wife. Like, we did and created what we said we were going to do. And our kids are there, and they've been there every year. Fast forward this last year, we were just in Florida. I said something about my children, and someone in the audience goes, have them answer it. And my kids are in the back. So all my kids came on stage.
Oh,
10 minutes.
come on.
Took Q&A from the audience.
Oh, man.
Like I have video and pictures of this. It's one of my proudest moments as a dad. And now I know I'm just gloating here about this, but like, here's my 19-year-old daughter, my 17-year-old son, and my 15-year-old twins, or soon to be 15. and they're answering questions. And what was really funny is one of the questions my daughter got, I got that question like 15 minutes before, and I answered it. And then they asked her, and she answered it almost verbatim what I said. And people started laughing. She didn't know what they're laughing about. And then after I was done, they got off stage and we broke for the evening, and there was a line of people wanting to talk to my kids. And I was like, this is it. Like, that's it. There's no greater success than in the four walls of our home. And they were there getting signature, like signing stuff.
Oh, cool.
It was so cool. So cool. So I think for people who think it's a tie down are missing it entirely.
So wrong.
So wrong. That's okay. Like, we all have these discoveries, right?
Yeah.
So
I think that's huge I mean, you're very driven, you're very focused and calculated,
yeah.
in the way and you can see it. It's one of the reasons why, like, we're so excited to have you on here is how we rubbed shoulders and different things of mind, things like that together. But do you spend, I'm always I love hearing how people come up with their innovations, because I know that you have to have the family structure or the personal structure, and I think that people will sit down and start to say, hey, I can't go after my dream because of X, Y, and Z. Yeah. They don't realize that it's actually X, Y, and Z that gets them their dream. And it's a matter of deletion. Right? Ooh, you gotta get rid of things. Like, I'll talk about myself for a second, but do it. When people in the, pound the pulpit here or something. When people say like, oh, I'm super busy. Like, I was in college full time, family, kids, in the Army, and trying to learn funnel building. I just agreed. I made the agreement from midnight to 2 a.m. I'm going to study funnels, and I had class at 7:30. And I was like, I'm going to be tired for a little bit, and that's fine. Yeah. But then I also made a conscious agreement. I'm not going to have Netflix. You know what I mean?
Yes.
What can I kill? And I think that it's like, maybe building structure in life isn't as much about building a structure as it is removing the distraction, and then structure naturally appears,
Yes.
Because you don't seem like you get distracted easily.
Well, I actually do. So that's why I have to have so much discipline, because I get really distracted.
Cool. Okay.
I think what you're saying too is like what Dr. Benjamin Hardy says, which is it's instead of breaking through the ceiling, it's raising the floor, right? Which is raising your standards, getting rid of things. And I think like people say all the time when they joke, like, how have you watched this show? I'm like, I don't even know what that is. I don't know. And it's probably like most popular series out. I'm like, I have no idea. And I don't watch it. My wife loves those things, and I love that for her. Like, we're just different. She was a nurse by trade, a great nurse, labor delivery nurse for a long time. And she's very successful in what she does. And she's a great mother and a great wife. So like the fact that she loves that is awesome. I just don't love it. And so I just find different ways. But yeah, for me, I've had to give up probably hanging with the guys more often and joining the softball team and all that stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, it's no shame if that's what you want to do. It's just, I just feel like I have a different purpose and a different calling that I need to fulfill. And I'm always racing against that, which is probably not always healthy either. I don't know if you guys feel that as well. I feel that. Like, you're chasing it all the time.
It's always there.
Yeah.
What is it for you?
Yeah, it's super interesting. I mentioned to you a little bit last night. Like, I love, this is why I've coached football. I love helping young people see their gifts and see what they can accomplish. I don't know how to translate that exactly.
Sure.
But I have some things that my wife and I want to do to continue that and do it on a bigger scale, make a bigger impact. And so for me, I want to get my businesses in a place where they serve the families that we serve and our employees. And then I can step and just full-time go do these things that support youth. I think our youth in the world and I couldn't, like, I listen to my kids and the things they go through. I thought it was hard when I went through. Seriously, I am not growing up right now.
A little different. I mean, social media, politics, genders, there's so
all of it. Yeah.
But
Insane.
we did not grow up with any of those question marks.
How do you navigate right now as a kid and know what is real and true?
As adults, we don't know.
It's adult for like,
right. Right. There was and trust yourself, by the way. How do you grow up trusting yourself?
So many voices. And then, I mean, we are now a family of faith. I say now, me, because I am now a believer, but like we bring them to church or talk about prayer and like listen to the Holy Spirit. But what is true?
Yeah. It's interesting. There was I'm going to botch where it came from.
That's okay.
But it was some study I was hearing someone else quote. So take that for what it is. We're talking about truth.
Yeah.
But not,
You heard that dead, so
Canada says, no, but it's interesting though, that it's talking about some studies that were done on teens
yeah.
and how they see through the garbage.
Yeah.
And actually it's this, not even Charlie Kirk. It's talking about how they're tired. There's obviously a percentage that are falling for it.
Yeah.
But the large majority are like, give us something real.
Yep.
Stop the smoke and mirrors thing. We know this is fake.
Yeah.
You know, and so any kind of, I think it's cool. That's what you feel like your purpose and calling is to give that inner compass.
Yeah, it's something. So in the evening right now in Texas where we live, so my wife and I built this pool and patio, and like, because we wanted our kids to bring all their friends to our house, you know, this kind of thing. And so
That's the dream.
kitchen, yeah, so much fun. And they do, like, I think we've had, no exaggeration, I think we've had 15 to 20 pool parties at our houses. So
And that's why those grocery bills are so high.
oh man, let me tell you, yeah, nobody cares about that on this show. I have boys who have to consume a certain amount of protein every day, and it is like crazy because they all play football in Texas. But we sit on that patio, and I'll tell you, that's like a sacred space for us. And I mean, listening to my daughter had some friends over one time, and they were talking about boys and all stuff. I sat and listened, and I was just like, wow, if you're a dad of girls and you can sit and listen to like that kind of conversation, so eye-opening. And then on the other side, I have 4 boys. And so I'm like, okay, and I talk to parents all the time, I can hear parents who have daughters and what their concerns are, what they're looking for when their daughters are dating and looking at young men. And I'm like, okay, I have 4 of them, 4 knuckleheads that I need to like make sure they're doing the right things. And I just think like my wife and I, there's a lot of things we do well in business, and that's fine, but we're not perfect. But I will tell you, my wife does a great job in helping rear these our young men, especially. My daughter's amazing. She always has been from the time she's born. She's just like awesome. And she was an easy parent. Like, she makes you look like a stud parent. Like, my boys are different at that. They're awesome. But watching them and helping them be men in this kind of environment in this world is a challenge. And they're doing a great job with it. But like, I could spend a lot of time on that, but maybe not for this podcast. But yeah, just pouring into young men, especially right now.
Well, and you talked earlier about how when you were younger, things like kind of came easy to you.
Yeah.
And then you met your wife, and that was like the 180.
Yeah.
And now you're kind of creating that as a couple together.
Yep.
You said your mom is great at, or your wife is great at leading these young boys. And maybe because of your background of like, I didn't realize my potential until you had that equal partner.
Yeah. I just want my boys to find a woman that obviously is great on that, but aside from whoever they find, but that they can worship the ground she walks on. They can be a provider, be a protector, and be a man of faith, and not just like be ambitious and whatever it is. I don't care what they do. They don't have to do business.
Perfect.
And so like, that's just what we instill in our like constant. My boys probably get tired of it. You know, like I'm pretty tough on them because I think the world's going to be tough on them.
Yeah.
And so anyway,
I think that's smart. But
whatever parenting that was, that's it. That's all the parenting advice I'll admit.
Well,
I have a lot of work to do.
I like those qualifications or those ambitions of the direction you want them to be in when they're looking for their partner. Like what more important decision is there in life than who you choose to spend your life with? And we've both been through divorces and now raising girls who are children of divorce. Like, we talk about marriage and
very open.
love and relationships all the time. Even like every single day, we'll kiss in front of them and joke like, "Did you know we're in love?" And they'll be like, "We know."
We know. Oh my gosh, like we need you to see that though. You know, an example of connection.
And now it's sweet that we'll do this thing we call it gratitudes and big magics, where each of us in a row say 3 things we're grateful for, and 3 big magics means like a wish or an intention or a goal.
That's awesome.
And often now what they will say is, "I want a husband like Dad."
That's
And like
that was the melt me or what's good side. Oh my god,
nothing better than that. And
that's where I'll tear up.
Yep.
I think the most romantic thing that I feel with you is like, I want to raise the girls to be like you because I just admire you so much. And I love that what we teach them about relationships and love and marriage and what to look forward to. And we tell them our mistakes and the things that we've done wrong. And hopefully they'll learn from us. And
what's the thing you admire the most?
Steven?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Where do I start?
Let's fly it out of frame and see
And the reason I asked, I was going to say something. So we have a member of my organization, and he's a member of my church, and he just lost his wife, 36 years old, mother of three. Oh my God.
You lives another day.
So hard. But one of the things he and I were talking about is like, and I just said it. I was like, why did we wait till she passed for everyone to hear the things that, you know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
you have a funeral and you have people say great things and all stuff. It's like, why do we have to wait till somebody passes to like say all the amazing things about them? You know? So anyway, that's my context for,
I love that.
so what do you admire the most?
When I first met Steven, and I'll say met in the context of like starting to date, because we knew each other from business entrepreneur stuff. We were in masterminds together. But like when I really met and got to know Steven, I was in a place where I was very broken from my divorce. And I had started dating after my divorce, and it was totally from a place of like trying to redeem this fairy tale in my mind that I thought I lost. It was definitely dating from a place of looking for external validation. And then here's Steven that started to pursue me. And I'm like, not my type.
Yeah.
Because my type was narcissist, manipulator, cheater, abuser. And like Steven was just
God.
way too nice.
It's just the bill.
That should just like, knock me around a little bit. Come on. uh, and Steven was just always like, there's room for that. Like, I'm not going to pressure you, but I also know who I am and what I bring to the table. And I feel like this could be the best relationship that we could have. But also, I'm not going to, you didn't say be friend zoned, but it was like you didn't let me manipulate you in that. And I,
Is that because you really knew what you wanted to, you think?
Yeah,
I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, where do I go with this?
No, I was just in a spot though where I realized I had a friend hand me a book that talked about the healthy versions of masculinity and how to embrace it. And masculine, when you have a strong sense of self, I think even Tony Robbins teaches us that if the masculine is pursuing the feminine is not interested, then it's time to move on.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you convince the woman to make a masculine move, and you actually flip.
Yeah.
And I am now in a feminine role, and she's in the masculine, and you actually start the relationship off that way. And so I noticed that, and then I said, all the respect to my ex-wife, I just don't want to repeat any of my own mistakes, also mistakes in relationship. How can I not repeat? And I was like, oh, I think I was. Anyway, I just a lot of lessons there, So I wanted to make sure that I don't care if we do any business stuff together. Do we have a connection, a true legitimate relationship? And is it natural, or is it something that it's kind of like Harley and I will often say, and we're not making fun of any relationships that say this, but like, marriage is hard, is being with someone is really, really hard. And we're like, it's been so natural. We had to just kind of choose a date on the calendar and say that's when we started dating. We really don't know.
I'd love to say that we fell into love. I've never fallen in love before. I only crashed into it till Steven.
Yeah. So it's
kind of that idea of like, are you busy or productive? Is marriage hard or is it not? Like, you get to decide,
right?
Perspective of,
you just choose it. It's like, instead of being a victim over it, it's like, how are you going to actually orchestrate and be the architect of what you want? And then that was kind of more what I came to the table with. Was like, look, this is who I am. This is where I'm going to go. Would love to have you, and it would do great together. And then at first you're like, no.
And he loves me loudly. I love that. And
That's a great way to say it.
that sense of self that he had also called me to find mine, but without the pressure. Like, he saw when I was dating some schmucks and was like a friend through it all. And you also said but you said that your wife is your best friend, and I never had that before.
Yeah.
And I love that we started as friends and it grew into love, and it helped me to mirror for myself in the good ways, but also in safe, how do I word this? Like, when someone can call you out and call you up.
Yep.
Like someone that's safe to allow me to see my flaws, my wounds, like you call it the proverbial weight room. Our relationship is like because of also where we came from, where in our previous marriages, or at least I'll speak for mine, like my ambition was a threat, and I did not feel like I was allowed to or safe to. That I would have to sacrifice the relationship for my dreams. And with Steven, he's like helping to amplify the dreams. What are the dreams that I wasn't admitting to myself before because I didn't think I was allowed to? And here's Steven that's like, we can do this together.
Yeah.
And
It also gives space for failure.
Yes.
You know, like if you don't have a supporting person at your side when you go to entrepreneur, it doesn't always work in business. And so then you have to come back to the home still wearing armor instead of resting.
Yep.
And
defensive.
And you're defensive. Can I defend my dream? Rather than having it be a place, oh, it didn't work how you wanted. We can still come back together and it's a recharge spot. It's a reassess spot and you're celebrated for just attempting rather than defending it the whole way. And that's what I wanted.
So interesting you say that. So so such a great way to say it. When I left the real estate business because it was just the market crash and I had a partner steal some money, all this stuff anyway. But we had 5 little kids and we just had this business that a few years before we were making tons of money. Like, it's like, this is the best thing ever. Real estate market was flying, you know. I'm dumb, I'm young, I think it's going to go forever. And then like overnight, it felt like we nearly lost everything. And so I leave that and I go to my wife and I say, I'm going to leave that failing business. I'm going to go start a new one. Great idea.
stability.
Yeah. But we had an agreement. This is how many members I need to have by a certain period of time. And so it's really, really tough. And I've had this phrase in my whole life. And in fact, my second book I wrote because a mentor said this phrase to me. He said, you hired up for a tough guy, now make good. Meaning you agreed to be a tough guy on this thing, go make good on it. And so it's always been a phrase like, I got to be a tough guy. If I sign up and say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And
I like that.
So I had this mentor in my life, and he had built 3 national brands, 7 best-selling books, and he was coming out to meet with me. And during this meeting, we had no money. I tell you, like, we couldn't afford blinds on the windows. So like the sun's beating through, and we're like moving every 15 minutes down the room
after a very rich season.
Yeah, and I'd already lost the other companies. Like I'd left them and walked away from that, and like the sun's just beating through the window, and I'm like embarrassed. This guy's like built these big companies, and who am I, and all that head trash, all that stuff.
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah. And so during it, my phone rings, and it's my wife, but we're in the middle of this thing, and she texts, hey, can you call me? So I'm like, Dave, can we just take a time out? And they call my wife. So I step outside because we're a small office, nowhere to take a call. And I'll never forget, I go out the parking lot and I say, hey, what's going on? She said, I'm sorry to bother you. I'm like, you're never bothering me. She's like, I know you're with Dave today. So him at the grocery store and the car's not working. I'm like, oh goodness. So I look it up online. It's one of those moments that I actually felt a voice in my head say, burn this in your mind forever. Like just, this is going to be a story, but it's hard in that moment.
Yeah.
I don't know where this is going to go, but I never forget looking at it. I had $27 in my account. If I bought diapers, I have 3 in diapers, and you have the nighttime stuff, and you have all like,
Oh my God.
and so I said, hey, and food's up on the counter and stuff. And I'm like, listen, buy whatever you can for $27. I'll figure out tomorrow. Now, here's the other problem. Dave's in town and I got to take him to dinner. And I'm thinking, I don't even have money to go to dinner. I think if I remember, I called my parents and asked for some money to like take him to dinner. It was like, that's how bad it was. Wow. And so, I remember coming home a couple of days later, I had multiple $27 days. You know, like, remember back in the day when you put your ATM card or your debit card in, and when it declined, it would be like,
Yeah.
Now they do that when it's approved, which I hate the person that created that because I still have PTSD. Like every time I've been in this, like, and I'm like,
I've had that.
oh, yeah,
Yeah, I've had that.
you know what I'm talking about, huh? And so I came home one day just defeated, like this is not working, whatever. And I saw my wife, she's sitting on the couch. We had the split level home in Minnesota. I came up the stairs and I see her and I'm like, I just tell when you're talking about safe, I'm like, I can just, I can let it all go.
Yeah.
She walks up and she gives me this big hug. And I'm like, this is perfect. This is what I need, right?
Yeah.
But then she leans in and she whispers in my ear. And she said one thing. She said, you hired up for a tough guy, now make good. And I was like, no, you don't get to use my line on me. Like, but what she was saying was, I have your back, and you can be who you need to be right now, but get over it pretty quick. Like,
Yeah.
Meaning we got this little family and I know you're built for this and you can do this. And I did. But I love that about her, that we're in it together, and I can mess up and she's not gonna be like, oh, that was stupid. There's sometimes I'll come back and go, when I did that thing, it was really dumb. And she's like, yeah, I know. Like, yeah, I kind of thought that was a dumb idea. And I'm like, why didn't you tell me? She's like, because it's important to figure it out. And
That's the best. I wish more women knew that. Like, I went to a relationship development course when I was like in my early 20s, like long before I was even married. And they had this framework of like, women, we need to put down our swords. And it's so much around us. Like on television, the sitcoms are usually the paradigm of like
Fight.
the hot wife and the dopey husband, that all the jokes are at his expense and he's the dummy, and then we just see it all the time. And like, if I've been around women that I had an employee once that she and her daughter would talk badly about daddy, and I was like, why is that being taught? And I love this. I want more of this. And I surround myself with women that are also uplifting of their husbands, but also they have their own lives and things that they do. And I love hearing that, because I wish more people do that.
Thank you. And I'm just saying it to honor her, right? Like, and I think if there's entrepreneurs listening about this, like, how do you get on the same page between spouses? Because from a business side, like, I have to have that. Like, when I feel like she's got my back, I can conquer anything and I can go through anything, right? And I can grow through anything. We were just with these friends at a cabin this weekend, and I take this as a compliment to my wife, because this woman said they're all friends. All the wives are friends, and as husbands we're friends, but we don't hang out as much. Like, if I'm going to hang out, I have free time, I'm going to hang out with my wife. So I love you guys, but I'm not hanging out with you like they do. They go to lunch together and all that stuff. But one of the women said something. She said, hey, I just want you to know, I've been friends with your wife for like 6 years, and we go to lunch all the time. She goes, I just want to tell you something. She goes, your wife has never said a negative thing about you. And I probably give her plenty of things to talk about. Was like, your wife has never said a negative thing about you. And she doesn't talk about any of your business. She doesn't talk about anything. Like, she's like a steel trap. She doesn't say anything negative. And I was like,
Respect.
Awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. And so it's interesting, because I honor her always in things like this and on stages. And yet that's the way she honors me, is like, when there's people talking about it, she just never says a word. So I think as a couple, if you're in business together, you're going to have mistakes, you're going to have things, but like, you got to keep that. That's got to be together, and you cannot go outside of that.
It stays in the proverbial wee room.
Yeah. And I think it's, there's a lot of people who ask, how do you get your spouse on board? And I'm like,
Yes.
I don't
Common question.
I don't know. Sometimes it's out of the gate. Sometimes maybe that's the first trial, but I eventually did make the decision to just go for it.
Yeah.
Despite feeling like I was alone for a little while. And I don't know, that's a tough call to make. And I feel like it's an individualized one. It's hard to make a blanket statement there.
There's no one size fits all.
There really isn't.
Although I have found something, I don't know if you've found this to be true, but if I dig a little bit with people, and if they want to get honest about it, I will say, how honest are you with your spouse?
Oh.
Are they really not on board, or have you not communicated?
Have you not communicated, or what are you communicating? So for example, I know somebody that I coached for a while, and he's an optimist because he's an entrepreneur. And so he's always painting this optimism. And I think over time, his wife got tired of like, yeah, we're going to do this thing, and we're going to build, and it's just around the corner, and it's going to be the next thing. And then it's like, when is it going to be that thing? Instead of just coming to like, it's hard right now.
Yeah.
We're struggling. I don't know what to do, or I'm trying to figure it out, or I got to fire this person, or whatever it is. And like, if you can have an agreement around how to have that conversation, then you're not always painting this rosy picture. And I'm like, maybe it's not that they're not on board. They just don't trust you. Like, you got to get real. What are you saying to your spouse? And so sometimes I found that to be the case. Not always.
No, that makes a lot.
Blanket statement, but
yeah,
sometimes there's a deep inner look. You got to have like, how honest am I being about what's going on?
That's a great answer. And the trust is built.
Yeah, absolutely. I did want to shift gears for a moment here. I want to shift into, I love what we're talking about, but I mean, you've had, I went through 34 failures, you've had a lot of failures. What are the common things that you're seeing in your successful businesses that are different compared to the failures? Like, because they're across very different things too. I mean, you have a software business, you have a subscription, you have coaching, you do all these, but they're working.
Yeah. So rephrase the question just slightly.
Sorry about that. What I want, the whole point is like, Okay, so I go through 34 failures across 5 years. Number 35 hits, and I was like, oh my gosh, I get it. And then the next 55 worked. And I could see that it was in the way I was coming up with the ideas. It was the way I was executing them. It was the way I was no longer building a business around me.
Yeah.
You're a very structured guy. What's different with these structures with the ones that have worked compared to the ones that didn't?
I think the thing that works is people, meaning this, right? I'm always learning from other people. Instead, I think the thing that didn't work was my own ego. I feel like I had to have all the answers. I had to know it. I had to figure it out. And what I realized, just gets me through a lot of those mistakes, is I don't have hardly any of the answers. I don't know most of it, but I know how to find great people, see their gifts and their talents and go, let's double down on your superpower. And then I can transfer a vision of where I want to go, what I want to do. And then I can cast a vision big enough that they can see how they fit inside of it. So they can accomplish everything they want to accomplish inside of that vision. And that became my superpower. And now I went, wow, this is what makes business a whole lot easier, because they love what they're doing. They see a massive vision inside of it, and I can go accomplish the things I want to. Before, I was the constraint. I'm always the constraint. However, I think I've been able to raise that floor a lot so that I'm not the constraint as much as possible. And when I am the constraint, I have to look at it and get honest and go, I'm slowing this down right now. And I think that's just been the biggest lesson is just finding great people and helping them succeed. I know it's cliche, but I just think it's the easiest path.
You said something really key in there, though, which is it's all key, but there's a certain part in there you said, you need to be good. Oh, man, it's so cool to hear you say this. I've been teaching this for the last 6 months, and it's not common. You have to be good at casting vision.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Yeah. So I'm writing my third book called The Impact Effect for impact-driven entrepreneurs. And one of the things I actually talk about in all 3 books, is you have to transfer vision, because
Yes,
it's one thing to have a vision and it's in your head. And as entrepreneurs, we can see it, but you got to cast it. So simply, if I'm sharing something to my team, there's certain phrases I will use because I want them to see it. I know Russell's talked about this recently, where he talks about the epiphany. You don't have to tell them the epiphany. You have to help them see the epiphany. They have to have the epiphany.
That's
Right? And so I will say things like, guys, what would it look like when? What would happen if? Right? So instead of just telling them the vision, I want them to see it. And when it happens, like you see it. And they're like filling in the blanks.
Yeah.
And then we could do this, and we could do this, we could do this. And quite honestly, you and I had this conversation.
I was just going to bring that up. I was like, you did that to me like 15, I don't know,
Yeah.
hour and a half ago.
Yeah. And I said a few things, and you're like, yeah, but then I could put it here, and then I could do it this, and then I'm like,
You just did it to me.
that's it. Now you see it
Yeah.
the way we see it.
Okay.
And I think that's where entrepreneurs and even marketers mistake, is they try to tell the person the thing. And so we're rolling out something new in one of our companies right now. And I was like, hey, what's been the biggest struggle? And they're like, oh, this, and this. I'm like, so if we could solve that, what would that do for us?
Mhm.
Oh, well, gosh, if we could remove that. And I need to think about it this way. When you put your kids down for bed, you don't tell them bedtime facts. Tell them bedtime stories. Why? Because it's visual and they see it and they live it. So think about that as a business. Instead of fact finding your team, like tell them stories. Tell them a thing that goes, I could see that. I could see how we could do that. And all of a sudden, then the last piece is, how do I get them to see how they fit inside of that, and they can accomplish everything they want inside of that vision.
That's huge, because some business owners will go, oh, I'm not a salesperson.
Yeah.
You absolutely are of your vision, and it's not an external thing. You're actually selling to the internal organization, and being able to go and say, can I transfer vision? Did you catch the vision? Can you hold it? Because I think what it also lets happen is, I think a lot of times a business owner they're so involved in every single decision their employees make, because it's not because the employee is dumb.
No.
They actually hired them because they're smart.
Yep.
Right. But they're just so involved. There's no autonomy.
Yeah.
And if there's no autonomy, I just look underneath. It's like, well, okay, but there's a lack of vision. Because then they come to me, someone come to me, hey, what should I do here? I'm like, if you know this is the overarching goal and the vision, what would you do? And it totally changes everything. You get that completely different output from the same team.
One of the questions I'll sometimes ask people, depends on who. I don't ask this to everybody, but sometimes I'll say, So if you were me, what would you do?
Love that.
Yeah. Like I got a really big decision I got to make. If you were in my seat, what would you do? Fascinating.
Good.
Fascinating. So it's just a constant improvement thing. And one of our core values is constant improvement. And so we're always like, how do we grow through it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And casting the vision, super
Awesome.
key. So then looking back at like I can clearly look backwards just on that one idea. Those 34 failures, I was holding, you're right. I was holding and owning. I felt like I had to have all the answers. It's actually the short road.
Yeah.
Slow road.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So it's interesting what you just said, though. You said 34 failures.
Yeah.
Well, my mentor, one of the things I talked about was the failure in real estate. And he is like really adamant about the words I use. And he's like, I don't want you to ever say it was a failure.
Makes sense.
He's like, because it's just, you just learned. Like, that's it. You just learned. And I was like, yeah, because like, again, Dr. Hardy, I think he talks about how your present actually defines your past, right? And so I was like holding on. It was interesting how it changed the current success of business because I was holding on to this mistake, this failure, this thing. And yeah, I could say I learned from it, but I was like, oh, but I had this business that failed. And I might have even said it today. But like, but it wasn't a failure. I just learned. In fact, I just learned all the things I don't want to do, right? Relationships, same thing. Not a failure. Like I could beat myself up over friendships or employees or things that didn't work, but like, no, I learned from it. I learned now what I want, what I don't want, all of those things. So I think sometimes we take so much with us and we carry it and we just need to like leave it where it was and just learn.
And if you just had the outcome that you had now without the failures, would it mean as much? Would the lessons that you got from that be medicine to the world, the people that you impact?
Just 34 stepping stones.
Yeah.
Really.
Or whatever.
There was a lady I was working with a couple of years ago, and her first business attempt exploded, just took off.
Yeah.
And because she hadn't tried other things, she wasn't committed. I was like, you have no idea what you have here. This thing is taken off. So she kept looking over the fence, like, I go try this, I go try this. This worked. And I'm like, oh, I forgot. You didn't go through 34 stepping stones to see and value what you have here. Don't go anywhere. But, that is interesting. It helps with the decisions down the future.
It's interesting you say it. So in the book right now, one of the recent chapters I just wrote is the ceiling of achievement thing that happens to a lot of us, right? Like we get success and we achieve. What happens is we hit the ceiling. Again, Dr. Hardy talks about this. And there's only three things, in my opinion, you can do. One is you can just keep doing what you're doing and you'll probably just, like we go, oh, well, I'll just work harder and then that's how I break through, right?
Barely works.
Right. But I see where people think that because
Sure.
Well, I worked hard. That's how I got here. If I just work harder, then I get through it. Or the other thing is we chase something. The grass is greener on the other side, right? The problem with those two scenarios is you take something with you every time and it's you. You are taking you. So I see this in business. People say, I made a lot of money in real estate. Now it's hard. I hit a ceiling of achievement. Oh, Steve's making a killing in insurance. I should just, it's the vehicle. I need to go sell insurance. Okay. But now you just took you to a new thing and you're going to hit that same ceiling at some point. And so the only way to break through is what Dr. Hardy says, which is to, raise the floor, let go. You talked about at the very beginning, deletion, let go of things. But I see a lot of people in business right now, and that as the economy constricts, you're going to see it. People go, the grass is greener over there. I'm going to go over there. And they'll abandon what they're doing.
I've been talking about this season of multiplication by subtraction.
Yeah.
I actually, for a long time, I was like, there's nothing I just have to work harder in my business and we just have to get over this hump. And then in the last couple of weeks, I just, in prayer and just thinking was like, what got you here won't get you here.
Yeah.
This needs to be a completely different strategy. And I let go of one person on my team that was highest salary.
Yeah.
And then the next, and I let go of 4 people that I was like, wow, I was working hard when I could have been working smarter. Because the reason that was keeping me in this perpetual chaos was because I felt like I had to keep leaping higher instead of actually just change the floor.
Yep.
Yeah.
Multiplication by subtraction. Now I'm like, what else in my life might there be an addiction to chaos that instead is, because I think that the answer or the opposite of addiction is connection. So how can I connect with what do I really want? And instead of trying to work so hard in chaos to get it, other things I can delete and actually puts me in that environment immediately.
So you're getting clarity around what those connection things are?
A lot of it was, first of all, acknowledging an addiction to chaos, the enoughness. How do I just reach this new level
Yeah.
instead of actually, if my expenses are here and my monthly recurring revenue is here, if I lower my expenses, wow, I got it.
It was
Like,
actually
over.
because of it. It wasn't a stagnant thing either.
Yes, and then from that subtraction, then how I showed up on sales calls or in presentations or in conversations with people changed. And then the revenue jumped. It was like
So it's crazy.
all I needed to do was subtract. And so yeah, this multiplication by subtraction has been something I've been saying so much in the last few weeks.
I wanted to go back to just one last part with this, where you're saying, okay, so big difference between the stepping stones / failures and is the ability to cast a vision.
Yeah.
Right. I find that I go through a discovery phase, and I'm like 50% of verbal processor, 50% internal. And so something that I think I've heard past teams that I've had with is I'm still working through what that vision is before I cast it, but it feels to them like I'm casting it. When do you feel like your vision is crystallized enough to start selling others on it?
Oh, I've certainly been known to like go too early.
Sure. It's a visionary part. Yeah.
But when I'm getting better at, if I can teach it to somebody that I think they could then go share the vision, then I think it's ready. But if I have to sort of work through it enough and I know it's not clear enough for them to say it back to me or for them to tell somebody else, it's probably not there yet. So it's just kind of how I, like if it could just be articulated in a couple statements, then I think we're there. If not, if I'm still working through a lot of it, then I might just say, hey, I want to bounce something off you. And it's just a different way to do it. I don't know if I have a clearer way, but that's just for me.
I certainly have never in the past appreciated how much work thinking is.
Yeah.
Are you, and now also like try to block out visionary time?
Yes.
Do you do that where it's like
Days a week.
2 days a week? Okay. Whole day.
Sure look like.
Yeah. So right now, one of those days is book writing. But right. And then the other day is working on the business. And so, super interesting. And it is difficult and I don't have it mastered yet. I don't feel like I'm in mastery of this yet. But one of the things I try to do is this sounds super silly, but I set up in my office as if I am coaching myself.
Cool.
So I try to step out of myself and I try to think, okay, Chaz is sitting right there and I'm looking at his business from the outside. What needs work right now? And honestly, sometimes I walk circles in my office and I'm just in my head thinking like, okay, is it this thing? I'll write it on the board or whatever. Sounds so weird. Like I'm sure if any watching, they're like, this guy's a lunatic. No, I know we get it. So that's we're going to sell that.
You just leave.
And then what's fascinating is I just feel like a ton of inspiration, divine downloads, just whatever. It's oh, that's the thing that's missing right now. And then I just go with it and come back, crystallize that vision, and then get it in front of it.
I'm going to do that tonight.
Yeah.
I've noticed you're very clear with your questions too. And I know that we have a similar coach that we both work with. And one of the things he said, I think he was quoting Aristotle or Socrates, Plato, one of them, dead smart guy. And that nature abhorreth a void.
Yes.
Right. And that it's not always about having the answers. It's about us holding open a vacuum and then it will naturally begin to fill itself. And it sounds like these 2 days, you're just holding open a vacuum.
Yeah.
And then I've been finding something similar where I have a little routine I've been doing for the last, couple months where it's meditation, but there's not really an objective. It's just to be open and receive and ask key questions. Do you have a trick that you do or a format for how you're asking questions? Because that talent is very apparent.
Not necessarily. I think it's more about like what's holding me back and hurting me more than I know. And so I try to ask myself that question. It's fascinating. Like when you step outside of yourself and you don't attach to any answer or ego or anything like that, you're like, oh yeah, I'm really stinking it that bad. Like if I can really just have a self-awareness, like what's going on. And sometimes that's where I'll ask my wife, I'm like, hey, what am I struggling with? What's really going on? Or I have a business partner too. He's really good about just saying how it is. Like, what am I stinking at right now? And I think sometimes those become like trigger points for me to like, or if maybe somebody gave us some feedback through an email or a review or something, I'm like, oh, let me dig into that more about what that meant. But I don't ask myself a ton of questions because I think I do that all the time. Most of it is just like you talked about meditation, just open, like what do I need to work on? If I'm coaching me, what needs to happen. It needs to really be fixed right now.
Is there something that comes to mind that you're working through right now for yourself?
Yeah, I need to get out of some seats that I'm in because yes. In fact, this is a really powerful one for me is I'm talking about our coach, right? And so we get in these planning sessions and everyone's like, hey, everyone will say it. We want to get Chaz to be visionary only. I'm like, get him in there. Like, we're going to push this. What I learned was they don't even know what that means.
I don't know what that means. I was going to ask, what does that mean? What does that look like?
That's what's interesting. I know what it means to me,
Okay.
but I clearly didn't understand transferring the vision of what it meant to them. And what I learned is they actually resented it.
How can you create what you resent?
Exactly. So what I learned was some people thought what that meant is if I'm in the visionary seat and there's 3 or 4 bullet items there, meaning I'm not going to work anymore.
Right.
That's not what it means.
That's not what it means at all.
What it means to me is I could have those visionary days every day of the week. I could do more of this and share our brand, and I could do all those. I'll probably work more with more energy because I'm getting to do my superpower. But what they took it as, Chaz doesn't sit in any seat, so he's not doing anything.
It's just the bridge owner.
He's just the guy sitting in the owner's box making all the money.
Jerk in charge. Interesting.
And what I realized is that's why they were fighting it and resisting it. So I had to get, so now what we're working through right now is I'm working on the clarity of that vision to now transfer that to them because it came up in our last quarterly session.
A vision of a visionary.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I didn't realize they resented it. It doesn't mean they're bad people. It doesn't mean any of that. It just meant I was unclear in transferring that vision to where they're like excited about me being there.
Thinking is hard to quantify in terms of a work product. So it makes sense to like, look what I got done today. And you're like, I thought through a new model.
Yeah.
Like that is not as immediately valuable.
Totally.
In the near side.
Yep. So that's, but again, that's where like, but every time I've done that, I've got new books, new ideas, new things. In fact, that's where I came and spoke here. You're saying where I was really like, hey, community and continuity are not the same thing. And that was like a big thing for me. And I've started to teach that. And that all came from being able to have the space to like, go, what are we doing? What's going well? What's not working? What am I seeing happening? So can I have that space? Have to.
I've kept a screenshot of that specific slide actually.
Yeah.
From your speech.
Yeah.
And I look at it a lot. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just that key idea.
Yeah. But shifts, just see what's going on in your business and around you. Most entrepreneurs don't stop. They just go, 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 go. Slow down. Yeah. Let's look at what's happening or what's not happening maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What am I pretending not to know?
Yep. That's a good, yeah.
Thanks for being on here, Chaz. Could you give a little plug for your business? I know you have some cool stuff and things that we're also going to be part of, which I think I dreamt about what we talked about last night.
I have a call tomorrow with
I mean, I cannot wait. So yeah, plug away.
We have 3 companies. Master Networks is a networking organization. So one of the things that we just are passionate about as entrepreneurs is they're the backbone of every community, the country, everything. And so what we know is that the referral marketing, people knowing what we're doing, the connecting, well, it takes time. It is the most insulating thing you can do in your business, right? So when someone says, oh, Steve did this, or well, that's not the Steve I know because I spent time with him, right? Or whatever. Or people do that about me. Hey, Chaz, that's not the guy I know. And when I know something you need, I'll send you the business. So we've built these structures, these networking organizations around the world. So that's Master Networks. Then Wilson Leadership is where I do the coaching and the podcasts and the books and all that stuff. And then our newest venture is Lead Syndicate, where we help people acquire leads at a fixed price, lower than they can get on Facebook, Instagram. Or the second part of that is allow people who have email lists and generating a ton of business, they can monetize and opt in by distributing that to other people in the syndicate that we have. It's called the Lead Syndicate. So those are the 3 companies we have, and we're serving a ton of entrepreneurs right now. It's fun because we're seeing their success, right?
Yeah.
That's what's really fun about it.
It's amazing. We're literally biting at the bit to go get started with it. That's fun. Can't wait.
Fun.
Yeah. Well, thanks for being on here. Appreciate it. Thank you so much, Chaz, for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for listening to Rare Things. You know you're rare, otherwise you wouldn't listen to this.